It's time for sports, and while we wait for Mike Cozzi to join in, yesterday the Yankees had a 7-run sixth inning, aided by walks and blunders by Tampa Bay. I managed to watch this as I was going back and forth from the Players' Championship to baseball and stuff like that. So I was managing to watch this unfold when I tuned in, and the Yankees had the bases loaded and 1 out.
And he walked him. That'll force in a run, and the Yankees lead 6-5. 34th ribby for Luke Voigt. And that is going to do it for Castillo. And the payoff. He walks, and the Yankees get another run. Aaron Hicks will touch up, and they lead 7-5. And the 3-2. Grounded, left side, Adames fields. Fires to first. Safe. A run scores, and the Yankees are up by 3, and Troy points to the dugout saying, we got him.
Well, they're going to take a look at it, obviously, because it's a huge play. Immediately, you'll know this is going to be low.
No, he's safe. He didn't have really control. It was under his arm.
Yeah, that's the call. Good call. Because his foot actually looks like it stays on the base, but he's still juggling that baseball.
And the umpire said, no, you're not allowed to walk out the field until the call is made, and it's safe. So Troy has to go back to first.
There's a couple plays that, you kind of scratch your head about, and you talked about it last inning. It's been nip and tuck, 1-run game, but this has been a shaky inning.
But he rips one inside third in a pinch hitting appearance down the left field line. 1-run scores, 2-run score, and he clears the bases with a double, and the Yankees are up by 6.
Now, I played that audio clip because I want most people to realize that you can win a game and a team can lose a game, and they both can happen at the same time. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Tampa Bay just went horrible in that sixth inning. Horrible.
They're a lousy team.
Horrible. I mean, the mistakes they made to load the bases, and then the mistakes they made when the bases were loaded. The Yankees got 2 key hits. That's it. Everything else was given to them that inning. Unbelievable.
If any team's been lucky so far this year, it's Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
They're not a good team.
Well, anyways, speaking about not a good team.
Well, how about that's giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
I know where you're going. How about a god-awful team that's an embarrassment to the sport of baseball?
Did you see what Robinson Cano did yesterday?
If the Mets do not put him on the bench for an extended period of time, I have no words to explain the Mets organization.
I was always taught, and I was not a great athlete. I was a poor athlete, a terrible athlete. But even when I tried out for Little League and I was always kicked down to the minors because I stunk, if you swung at the ball and it went anywhere in front of you, you ran to first.
Put it this way. If he played for my high school team, he wouldn't play the next 2 games.
You don't,
and he'd be doing a lot of running in between.
You don't stand there and look at a ball and
then argue the point.
Especially when the catcher saw him standing there and jumped on it like a cat to prevent it from going foul.
He's a mutt. What did I tell you about Robinson Cano when the Mets were talking about getting him over the winter? You don't want him. You don't want him in your clubhouse. He's a complete mutt. He was a mutt when he was with the Yankees. He became a bigger mutt when he went to Seattle, and now he's a purebred mutt. He's a mutt.
It's amazing. Well, anyways.
Yeah, and they're paying this guy a lot of money to play or not play, go through the motions of playing.
So
the Mets are a joke.
What do you think is going to happen to the agent general manager?
Nothing.
Don't think so?
Nothing. Not a thing. How could it?
Yeah.
Who's going to fire him? The owner? The owner couldn't care less what happens.
Well, the Red Sox pulled one out against Houston in a close game yesterday.
Great series up there this weekend.
Yeah. Houston won 2 of the games, but the Red Sox were in all of them, and they almost, and they pulled out this one. 4-3. I watched the end of that one too.
Yeah, the Red Sox, they're playing better baseball, and Houston's playing really, really well. Yeah. That was the first game that they lost, I think, in the last 11 yesterday. And some of the games were on over the weekend. Those were the only baseball games I watched. They were the only ones worth watching. And it was real good baseball by both teams. And yesterday, Boston came up on top 4-3. But the night before, I think it was Saturday night, Houston jumped out to a 5-0 lead in the top of the first inning. Some bad pitching by the Boston starter, and they took advantage of it, and they coasted home on that game. And Friday night's game was another good game. So one pretty much of a blowout sandwiched around two good games, but that was the best baseball played this weekend between those two teams.
All right. So we talked about baseball. What else do you want to talk about now? I watched this. I'm beginning of the Stanley Cup, the Sharks versus St. Louis, right?
Yeah, St. Louis smoked them.
And they played it. The Sharks had their big introduction. Came out through the shark mouth, boom, and they interviewed one of the players, and he said, "Yeah, we've got to be all over them. We've got to pepper that goaltender." And like I said, I was watching golf, then I switched to the Yankee game, then I switched to the Red Sox game, and back, and I switched back to the hockey game, and it was 4-0, the Blues.
Yeah, the Blues beat them 5-0, and that was in San Jose.
Yeah.
So next game is in St. Louis. And that's St. Louis's opportunity to wrap it up. If they don't win at home, the next game, San Jose will win Game 7 because they're not going to play that bad again at home. This is a good opportunity for St. Louis to get to the Stanley Cup Finals to get beat by the Boston Bruins.
All right.
I was talking to my friends about it over the weekend, and because gambling's legal now, I'm going to check out the odds on the Bruins sweep.
All right.
That's how confident I am the Bruins are going to win.
It looks like the old Mickey here is going to be putting down a few bucks.
Yeah, very few.
That's right.
Very few.
Yeah. Oh well.
Hey, how'd Tiger Woods do this weekend?
I saw somebody this weekend. I was down in Jersey, and was talking about the same thing.
How'd he do?
He went the wrong way on what they call slamming the trunk day. He went the wrong way. He slammed the trunk. He was gone. Goodbye.
You know what's great too? How the media makes excuses for him. Oh, he didn't feel good. Oh, he did this. He had that.
Here's one thing. And you're right. The media did make all the excuses. One thing I didn't know, and I would have changed my prediction had I known this. He took a month off after his last victory. You cannot go into a major. I don't care who you are. You can be Jesus Christ. You can't take a month off. Can you imagine taking a month off of baseball and then going back and think you're gonna play the same as you were?
Maybe he read the Robinson Cano book of how to prepare for a game.
A month.
Do very little.
A month off. You're 40-some years old. You're going against 20-year-olds. You prove that if you really practice and work hard, you can be in there with them. And you take a month off. No wonder you got smoked. Honest to God.
He's good. He's good. He's a legend in his mind.
Well, I did, like I said, had I known he took a month off beforehand, if I took a month off and came back in here, I'd be making a bunch of little mistakes.
I hear you.
Anyways, so enough of that. So let's go to the Preakness. Mike.
Yeah.
Now, Mike. Now this is 2 horse races in a row where I saw something that I haven't seen before.
See, that's another thing. I look at everything yesterday morning, and they're talking about the horse that dropped the jock. Boat Express is a maiden, folks. A maiden running in a Grade 1 Triple Crown event. He had about as much chance as winning Saturday as Tiger Woods did on Saturday because he wasn't even playing. It happens all the time. When a horse drops a jockey, it does one of two things. It jumps the rail and runs back to the barn because they're creatures of habit. And they work out on the track every morning, and they go back to the barns. And they know where their barn is, and they show up there. That's number one. Number two, they run around the track. What do you expect them to do, stop? They made this like it was some big revelation.
No.
I've seen horses that drop jockeys that were the first horse across the finish line.
Well,
it's no big deal.
I know, but it was fun to watch because he was...
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun to watch if the horse made a left-hand turn and got into the crowd and somebody went down. Then it would have been real fun.
It was interesting that they talked to the jockey afterwards, and he took all the blame. He said, listen, the horse was jumpy, crazy, and you know what? I was in the process of trying to get my feet back in the stirrups when the gate opened. And he said, and
these people that make all these comments about horse racing, they should go watch a race once in a while. They probably think like these jockeys are sitting in the seat of a Jaguar with all kinds of straps and belts on them. They have a little leather strap in their hands, and they have 2 feet in metal stirrups. That's all they got. That's all the control they have of these horses. Before they go making up these cockamamie stories, they should go watch a horse race for real.
And tell these people how much these horses weigh?
About 2,000 pounds.
Yeah. So he didn't get hurt. The horse didn't get hurt. That's the important thing. It didn't affect the race.
Yeah, but it's ridiculous how they're talking that. What they should be talking about is how the horse that got impeded in the Kentucky Derby won the Preakness. That's the story. How War of Will was the horse that Maximum Security came over and interfered with and was stopped, and all of those armchair quarterbacks were saying, oh, well, the horse finished 9th. How could you disqualify the other horse? Well, the horse that finished 9th, who was checked in the Kentucky Derby because of a horse swerving over him, and the horse tried to save his own life, won the Preakness. And the owner says, I'll be at the Belmont. Unlike Maximum Security's owner, who wants to sue the world for $16 million and put up, and this was the most asinine statement that my friends and I were talking about at the track, how the owner of Maximum Security wants to put up, I think he said $20 million in the race with War of Will, that he would beat War of Will. Well, you still got that $20 million?
Yeah.
What a dope.
He reminds me of the owner of California Chrome.
Yeah, well, this guy's even worse.
Yeah.
Call him out. Ask for the $20 million. And like I told my friends, well, Maximum Security is a speed horse, right?
Yeah.
And they all agreed. I said, well, let's go back to the old Woody Stevens days when you put a rabbit in to kill the speed, and your closer comes along and says, adios, amigo. And in this case, when War of Will goes by Maximum Security, have the jockey pull a few $100 bills from underneath his hat and start waving them at him as he goes by. What a dope. War of Will is a very, very good horse. He impressed me Saturday. He impressed me in the Kentucky Derby by not clipping heels, and I really hope this horse wins the Belmont.
All right, with that being said, I got to get on to the forecast.
It's a tricky one today.
It is. We're more worried about Saturday and Sunday, to be honest with you.
Next Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, that's what we're going to have to look at.
Calling the weather for next Saturday and Sunday is harder than picking the double at Belmont.
It is, but I'm going to ask Pat to try to do it. All right, Mike.
Have a great day, guys.
Hey, say hello to that guy I saw in Jersey the other day.
Which one?
The one.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye.
Hey, see you later.
Mike Cozzi with a check on sports this morning here on the Breakfast Club on Robin Hood Radio.